Hi, I'm Craig Phillips, working with Jeeves to answer your DIY questions. Today we're going to be doing wallpapering. First of all, you want to make sure that your wall is nice and dry and smooth and dust free. Then you're going to measure up your wall before you start cutting your wallpaper. Once you've got your measurements, you want to leave about 2 or 3 inches at the top and bottom. This will allow you to trim it down nice and close to the skirting board and also at the top by the ceiling. Now we're ready to cut the paper. What I always do is measure the pasting table first. This one's 1800 millimeters, so I know I want 2.5 meters for the size of my wall. I'll put a simple little pencil mark on the table itself, and that'll make life a bit easier and quicker for each piece I'm about to cut. Once the paper's marked, you can simply start to fold it where you're about to cut it then. Now we've got one piece cut. What you want to do is check that this fits with the wall before you cut any more pieces of paper. Once you're happy that your paper covers all your wall and you've checked that you've got a 2 or 3 inch overhang both on the top and the bottom, you're ready to cut your next pieces. Now a top tip from me is, once you've cut your wallpaper, it's got a habit of sort of rolling back up on itself. So I simply turn it over and then roll it the opposite way. Once the paper's rolled out, we're ready to apply the adhesive. Simply start off by putting it on your brush and spreading it quite equally across all the edges of the paper. Because the length of your paper is going to be longer than what the pasting table is, once you've pasted half of the paper, simply turn it over and just gently let it stick to it. And you can pull it down and then you're ready to paper the rest. Now that all the paper is pasted, you're ready to hang it on the wall. You're starting off with the left-hand side corner. You put the first piece into position first of all, pushing it nice and gently against the wall, making sure that you've got a 2 or 3 inch space at the top and the bottom to be able to trim off. Once you've got your first piece into position, you then again get your second piece, line the patterns up if you've got patterns on it. This particular one's got stripes coming down, it's not so hard. Once the second one's in place, we continue that all the way across to the end of the wall. Now we're coming to the final piece of wallpaper, but as you can see, this particular piece is not quite the width of a full roll. So what I'm going to do is take a measurement across there, which is about just on 15 inches wide. So I'm going to pop it to one side and generally probably cut off about 17 inches. That'll make it a lot easier when I'm applying it to the wall. Now you don't have to worry about it being too neat because it's going to get a final cut once it's nice and tight against the corner. Now the first thing when applying any lengths of wallpaper is to marry up your joints there as neat as possible, as close as possible, pulling them together and then just getting yourself a cloth or a sponge, wiping it up the seam first and then wiping away from the seam, just brushing any bubbles or creases out of the wallpaper. Once you're happy that you've got the paper in the right position, you're ready to trim the top and bottom. Get yourself your pair of scissors, simply press it in, creating a little crease in the wallpaper. And that's giving you a guide then to actually trim it down. Now you're ready to trim it nice and tight into the corner. So just like you did above, get your scissors and press it into the corner and try and create a nice little crease in the paper itself, and you can use this then as a guide to cut down. That's it. Once you've got your final piece of wallpaper on, check that there's no bubbles in it and all the seams are fitted down correctly. One thing to remember, turn your central heating off because you don't want it to dry out the adhesive too quickly. And they're my top tips for wallpapering. If you've got any more questions on DIY, visit ask.com.